Both veterans?
No, I am not. Wayne is.
What did you do in the service?
I was with a helicopter unit,
Good for you.
Vietnam. Okay.
Now you got some gray hair.
Yeah. Okay, we're rolling.
All right, this is a home interview in Niskayuna, New York. It is the 9th of February, 2007, approximately 2:45 p.m. Interviewers are Mike Russert and Wayne Clark. Could you give me your full name, date of birth, and place of birth, please?
Austin Carleton Chase, Carleton. Birthplace Syracuse, New York. Is there anything else?
When were you born?
July 24, 1911.
Okay. What was your educational background prior to going into the service?
I went through grade school, secondary school. I went to college, had a Bachelor of Arts degree. And I'd taken some postgraduate courses, mostly in the banking field. Of course, I had a good education in the Navy, in electronics. I don't think I was one of the best students. But
Do you remember where you were when you heard about Pearl Harbor?
Let me see. Was it Christmas Day or was it
December 7th. It was before
December
Christmas, a
7th.
couple weeks before Christmas, 1941.
I can't remember exactly where I was. I was living in Little Falls, New York at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as I just can't remember exactly
That's
where I
okay.
was when
Okay.
the news
All right.
came over.
Did you enlist or were you drafted?
I tried to enlist. I tried to get a commission in the Navy. I couldn't get it, and I was drafted. I had my order number was 15, so it didn't take them too long to draft me. When they began drafting fathers.
So you were married at the time?
Oh yes, we had one child, another on the way.
Mm-hmm.
And you were 33 years old then, when you were drafted.
I guess it's pretty close to it, yeah.
Yeah.
See, it went in
44, you said.
1944. I was 32 and a half years old.
Mhm. Okay. So you must have been one of the oldest guys in your unit then, when you were in basic training.
Well, I suppose I was, yeah. Did
Where,
me good though.
where did you go for your basic?
I went to Theodore Herzl Junior Senior High School in Chicago for my gee, I've forgotten all the terms now. Primary. There were 3 primary, intermediate, and I forget what the last one was.
Now, that's where you received your basic training then, was out in Illinois?
No, I received my basic training at Sampson.
Okay, you went to Sampson first.
Yeah,
How long were you at Sampson?
that's the usual 5 weeks or whatever it was.
Mm-hmm. And then you went out to Chicago?
Then I went to Chicago to Theodore Herzl Junior Senior High School and got the primary training. From there they sent me to Grove City College in Pennsylvania. And then back to Chicago to Navy Pier.
Now, what kind of specialized training did you receive?
General electronics training, and I finally put to work. I think I was working on some kind of fuses that detonated mines. They were disarming at that time, of course, after the Japanese surrender.
So you basically were being trained to put the detonators in mines, or to be able to defuse them?
All kinds of electronics.
Oh, okay.
Anything having to do with that. We used to call them, the rate was the same as radio man, radio technician, or electronics technician, broadening it.
Mm-hmm.
And you trained everything from the simplest things to, you couldn't say radar aloud in those days, but radar was the wind-up. I never got all the way through with the whole set of schools.
Now you mentioned you were in a test lab. What did you do in there?
What did I do?
When you wrote down here, you said you were in a test lab. What did you do there?
Naval Mine Warfare Test Station at Solomons, Maryland.
Mm-hmm.
I was I wish I'd come here about 30 years earlier.
Huh.
Seems to me I was working on some simple thing that didn't seem to amount to too much. I'm sorry to say I can't remember what I was working on.
That's all right.
We're a few years too late, I think.
It's okay.
So you were there when the war ended.
Yes.
Well, how did you feel? How did you hear, or do you remember how you felt when they said that the war was over?
Well, I felt pretty good, of course. I had a new baby that I'd hardly seen yet, and another child, and my wife, and see where we were at that time.
Was there a lot of celebration out in the streets and on your base?
I don't remember too much except what I read in the newspapers and
Uh-huh.
all the hijinks that were going on.
Do you remember when President Roosevelt died?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, how about when did you have any reaction when you heard about the atomic bombs being dropped?
I don't remember any violent reaction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Just that probably the war was going to be over.
Yeah.
Now, how long did you stay in the service after the war ended?
Well, I got out in December of 1945. Does that sound right?
Mm-hmm.
Ended in August, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Where were you discharged?
Washington Naval Yard.
Okay.
I think that's right. I was at Solomons, Maryland for I can't even remember where I was discharged. That's ridiculous, but I most of my active service was in Solomons, Maryland, the Naval Mine Warfare Test Station,
Mm-hmm.
where I was working on something having to do with exploding mines, which are probably disarmament activity at that time, or whatever.
Okay.
It's so long ago that it's kind of dim in my mind, I can't remember too much about it.
Once you were discharged, what did you do after
I
that?
went back to being a banker.
Okay.
Did you ever make use of the GI Bill?
I didn't need to.
Mhm.
I mean, I
You had your
graduated from college
education
in
and-
1933,
Did you ever use the GI Bill to purchase a home or anything?
No.
Did you ever join any veterans organizations?
Belonged to the American Legion. I didn't serve overseas or go to sea,
Yeah.
so I wasn't eligible for the
VFW.
gift.
Yeah. Did you ever stay in contact with anyone that was in service with you?
To some extent, a few years too late, I'm afraid, a lot of this. Made some good friends in the service. I almost hate to answer these questions because I don't know whether I'm answering them right or not.
Well, there's no right or wrong answers with these. Do you remember any little incidents or stories that maybe you recall that you want to tell us?
Sea stories and so
Any kind of stories about when you were in the service?
Or any funny stories?
I know the training, or you better call it education, that I got was some of the most strenuous I ever had, and it was difficult for me because it wasn't really my field. Not a very good subject, I'm afraid.
Okay, that's all right.
Hmm?
That's all right.
You ever met other people like this?
Oh,
Memories were.
well, hey, it was a long time ago.
It was a
Yeah.
long time ago.
Yeah, no, that's understandable.
How do you think your time in the service had an effect on your life?
Well, it had a good effect on my life. It was probably one of the best things that ever happened to me. I mean, it put me back in good physical condition, for one thing, and I'm proud to have been in the service.
Mm-hmm.
I don't, no respect to hero or anything like that, but I enjoyed it. My father was a lieutenant colonel in World War I
Mm-hmm.
of ordnance, and he worked, especially was track laying vehicles, tanks and tractors and things, because he was in that kind of business before. So my grandfather was also lieutenant colonel in the 19th century, so I didn't distinguish myself particularly in relation to them.
Now, was your grandfather in the Civil War or the
No, I
many
don't think
wars?
he was. He was a little too late. He was born in 1834, so he would have been in his 30s in the Civil War.
Yeah.
But he was a lieutenant colonel in the State Guard, and I don't know that much about his
Mm-hmm.
history to tell you accurately. He was.
Now, that was the New York State Guard?
Pardon me?
Was it the New York State Guard?
I presume it was.
It was the State National Guard, I think it was.
Okay.
Whatever they called it at that time.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think there were two at that time
Mhm.
also.
I wasn't
Okay.
around then, so I don't remember.
All right. There are no other things you recall that you want to mention then? Now, you said that you were in the choir also?
Oh yes, wherever I was in the choir, because I had a musical background.
Mm-hmm.
I was a violinist and also did a lot of mostly choral singing
Mm-hmm.
in college and afterwards.
Okay. Well, thank you very
So I
much for...
sang in wherever group I was in, I sang in the choir.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
Well, you're welcome. It's a pretty sparse interview.
Well,
but
that's
all right.
okay.
we just missed it.
So your son missed Vietnam
Yes, yes.
because he was probably just a little too old to be drafted at
That's
that
right.
point. Okay.
Uh,
All right.
All right, thank you.